Okay, I'm going through problem 9.2b, which is computing depreciation under straight line 200% and 150% declining balance method. And also I have a sale, so it should help you with your homework if you're going to do it over break. But first I'm going to do straight line. The straight line's formula is cost minus salvage value divided by life. So I purchased the new machine on September 1st. Remember that. That's going to become important in just a little bit. At a cost of $180,000, so my cost is $180,000. The machine had an estimated useful life of 5 years, so its life is 5, and a residual value of 10. So the formula for straight line depreciation is cost minus salvage value divided by life. So I have 180,000 minus 10,000 is 170,000, divided by 5 is 34. So my cost minus salvage value is 170, divided by my life of 5, I get depreciation of $34,000 a year. So in 2013, I'm going to take 34,000. If it didn't say half-year convention was used, I would take it times September, October, November, December, 4 divided by 12, and I get 11,333. However, it tells me the half-year convention is used, so I'm just going to take it times 1/2, which if I can get the formula right. So I have $17,000. My accumulated depreciation is $17,000, and my book value is the cost of $180 minus the accumulated depreciation of $17,000. So at the end of year 1, my book value is $163,000. In year 2, I own it all 12 months, so it's $34,000. My accumulated depreciation is the 17 plus the 17,000 that I had plus the 34,000, so I've taken 2 years, so I have 51,000, and my book value is my 180,000 cost minus accumulated. In year 3, I have another 34,000. Can't operate my computer. 34,000. My accumulated then is the 51 that I had plus another 34, so my book value is 180 minus my accumulated of 85. My book value is 95,000. In year 2016, so notice I've owned it 2.5 years. I have another 34,000. My accumulated goes up to 85 that I had before plus another 34, so 119,000, and my book value goes from 180 minus the accumulated depreciation of 119. My book value goes to 61. And the next year I have another 34,000. My accumulated goes up by another 34,000, and my book value goes down by 34,000. I have 180 minus 153 is $333,000, and that makes no sense. Let's try a subtraction. Let's try 27,000. Okay, so notice I've owned it 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I use the half-year convention, so a half. So 4.5, so I need the other half. So I'm going to have 17,000 in year 6. My accumulated is 170,000, which makes sense because I need to depreciate it a total of 170,000, and my book value is 180,000 cost minus the accumulated 170, so I have 10,000. So notice that the 10,000 book value is the residual value, so what I should have left at the end of those years is $10,000. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the 200% declining balance. The formula for 200% declining balance is I need to take 1 divided by the life. The life is 5 years, and I'm going to take it times 2. And so, can't see my formula bar there. So I have 40% there. So I'm going to change this to a percent sign if I can find it. Okay, well, apparently Okay, so I got it formatted to a percent. So my percent is 40%. All right, so I'm going to take, for year one, I'm going to take my book value, which starts out at 180,000. So my depreciation expense is going to be my book value times my percent. Okay, but notice in year one, I'm going to take half year convention, so I need to take it times 1/2 in year one, and I have $36,000 for depreciation expense. So my book value is the cost minus my accumulated depreciation of $36,000. So ignore these right down here. I just have a formula set in there. In year two, I take my book value times my depreciation percentage, 40%, and I have 57,600. So now my accumulated depreciation is the 36,000 plus 57,600. So my book value is 180,000 minus the 93,600. The next year, I'm going to take my book value times 40%, and I get 34,560. My accumulated depreciation is the 93,600 plus the 34,560, so I have 128,160. My book value goes from 180,000 down by the 126,160, so I have 51,840. I take my 51,840 times the 40%. I have 20,730. My accumulated is 128 plus 20,736 for the 148. So my book value is now 180 minus the 148. So 31,104. So notice it's called double declining balance. This is the declining balance is how the book value goes down, and I'm taking the double the straight line rate. So the straight line rate is 1 divided by 5, which is 20%. So I'm taking double that times the declining balance. So in the last year, I'm going to have the 31,104 times the 40%. So I have 12,442. I'm just going to put 12442 there because I believe your homework doesn't round it. So I have 12,442 with my accumulative 161,338. So my book value is 180,000 minus the 160,338. I have 18,662. And then, so my book value in, so my book value right now is 18,662, which is 180,000 minus the 161,338. Now the last year is slightly different because what I want in the last year, I'm going to delete that right there. What I want in the last year is I want my book value to equal salvage value. So this is pretty important. You do not use salvage value in the computation. So notice in straight line, I took cost minus salvage value, which is 170, divided by the life. But in double declining balance, I took the 180,000, which is the cost, times the 40%. However, I want the book value in the end to be its salvage value. So I want this to be $10,000. So notice if I want it to be $10,000, I need to take 8,662 there. And notice that the accumulated depreciation is the cost minus salvage value because that's how much I want to decline in value. And my book value is the 180,000 minus the 170, so I have a $10,000 book value. So in the last year, I simply change it. Or force the number right there to be a plug until that equals the book value. Okay, so if you need to work that out, you can, but I'm actually going to use these same two columns for the 150% declining balance. The 150% declining balance is, notice that the formula for the 40% is 1 divided by life times 2, okay, where I get 40%. Well, for 150% declining balance, I simply take 1 divided by the life, which is 5, times 1.5. So it's as simple as that. Okay, and so if I put the formula in there, right, and added a plus there. Okay, so I'm going to try this again and get the, so I have 1 divided by the life times 1.5. I need to delete that percentage sign. And so I get 30%. Okay, so notice now what I do in this one is I take my 180,000 book value times 30% instead of 40%. My, whoops, and then I have my half year convention, so I have times 1 divided by 2, 1/2 year, so I have 27,000. So notice my accumulated is 27,000. My book value is 180 minus the 27,000. In year 2, I take the book value of 153 times the 30%, and I get 45,900, which now gives me 27 plus 45,9 gives me 72,9, and my book value is 180 minus the 72 gives me the 107. In year 3, I simply take the 107 times 30% to get 32. I accumulate the 72 plus the 32,130 to get the 105, and my book value goes down by 32,130, so 180 minus 105 is 74. In the next year, I have 74,970 times 30%. That gives me 22,491, and so my book accumulated goes up to 127,521, and my book value is now 180 minus 127. The next year, I believe I typed that number in last time, I have the 52,479 times the 30%, so I have 15743, so just 44, and so I have 143,265, which is the 127 plus the 15,743, which gives me a book value of 36,735. And then the last year, notice I forced this number, so it's just a number. You gotta get that out of there. I still want my book value to be 10,000. So notice I have 36,735. So in the last year, I need to take 26,735. So I get 10,000. So there's my depreciation expense under the 150% declining balance. I want to add one more thing. Okay, I'm going to do one last thing that your problem says. It says switching to the straight line method when it is better. Okay, so basically I'm going to do the 150% declining balance again. So I have year 1, I have $27,000, which is the $180,000 times 30% times 1/2 year. So again, the 180,000 times the 30% times the half year convention. So I will tell you, you really don't need to do this in year 1 or 2. So if you have a 5-year, it'll probably switch over in the last few years, but I'm going to do it all the way through. The straight line would have simply been cost of 180,000 minus 10,000, so 170 divided by 5 times 1/2 is the 17,000 I have over here. Okay, so obviously double declining balance is higher, so I'm going to use double declining balance. Okay, next year I take the 150% declining balance. The next year I have 153,000 times 30% is 45,900. Okay, had I used straight line, I would have taken the $153,000 minus the salvage value divided by the remaining life of 4.5 years, because I only took a half year in this one. So divided by 4.5 years left, okay, I get 31,777 if I'd use the straight line. The 45,900 is more, so use the 45,900. Okay, the next year I would have taken the 107,100 minus 10,000, got that total divided by the 3.5 years left. Okay, so 1, 2, 3.5 years left. So if I did that, I would have gotten 27,000, but still double declining balance is more, so I stay with the double declining balance. So I'm going to take depreciation of 31,200 because it's more than straight line. Okay, however, notice the next year I take the 74,970 minus the salvage value divided by the life left of 1, 2.5 years left, and that is 25,998. So once you switch for good. So remember I said there's 2.5 years left. I got 25,998. So I'm going to do 25,998, 25,998, and 1/2 of 25,998. So notice that I still depreciated all 170,000, but I've switched. So I think one of your problems does that. Problem 9-2B does not. You have these, and I will test you over these. So hopefully that helps. The last thing that we're going to do is sell the assets. So notice they sell it on December 31st, 2015. So that's this year, right down there. Okay. On 2016. I am sorry. Sell it December 31st, 2016. Okay, so that's the year I'm going to sell it at. So when I figure this out, I take the cash, and so notice I'm gonna actually do the journal entry. The homework didn't require you to do the journal entry, but I sell it for $58,000 in cash. So I get $58,000 in cash. I need to get the equipment and accumulated depreciation accounts off my books because it's gone. The equipment is sitting on my books for $180,000. How do I know that? It's right there. That's the cost of the equipment. When I bought the piece of equipment, I debited equipment for $180 and credit cash. Equipment's still sitting on my books for $180,000. The accumulated depreciation, however, is on my books for $61,000. So I need to get it off my books. So notice the book value on this piece of equipment. Whoops, my accumulated depreciation is $119,000. Sorry, picked up the wrong line. So the book value of my piece of equipment is $61,000, but the accumulated depreciation is $119,000. So I need to get them both off my books. So notice I really sold something that was on my books for a net amount of $61,000 for $58,000, and so I had a loss. But actually, it's easier. Just add up your debits. So I have $119,000 and $58,000. So that's what, $177,000. So I need a debit to balance, and debits are always losses. So I'll have a loss of $3,000. So if I want to double check this, that plus that plus that is $180,000, and my credits are $180,000. So I'm not going to do double declining balance because I've already deleted it, but let's go to 150% declining balance and see what the journal entry would have been. I got the cash for $58,000 still. I get the equipment off my books still at $180,000. However, the accumulated depreciation is now on my books at $127,521. Okay, and so now I need to figure out what I need to balance. I'll just add them up down here. So I know I have debits of $8,000 in that, so I have debits of $185,521. I have credits of $180,000, so I need $55,21 on my credit side, and a credit is a gain. Okay. On your double declining balance, I have deleted what I had for it, but you would have a gain if you want to go look up your numbers of $26,896. So you can just pull that same line, plug in what they have for accumulated depreciation right there for 2016, and you would have had to have a gain of $26,896 to balance in that particular case. So I hope that helps, and I hope that helps you with your homework. Feel free to open up your own spreadsheet in a separate window and kind of go through this, and you could even make a little table yourself to help you get the answers that you have to fill in for your homework. Sorry for the long tape.